The value of life through the lens of economics and society. When you hear the question, how much is a life worth? Your first thought might be, you can't put a price on human life, it's priceless. While this is true in theory, in practice, the world often assigns a financial value to every individual, whether we like it or not. For instance, in Iceland, the average value of a person is estimated at $400,000, whereas in Haiti, it's only $200, a mere 0.05% of Iceland's figure. This staggering disparity highlights how the value of life varies dramatically depending on circumstances. Some may idealistically say that life is priceless, but history and reality tell a different story. From gladiators in ancient Rome to forced laborers in factories, governments, employers, and even black market organ traders have always assigned a specific number to human lives. So, the real question is, how much does the world think you're worth? Your country determines your value. Where you are born is the single biggest factor in determining how much your life is worth in the eyes of the world. It may sound harsh, but it's true. For example, in Monaco, the country with the highest per capita wealth, the average value of a person is between $7 and $8 million. However, this data is somewhat unreliable due to Monaco's small population and its reputation as a tax haven. Still, we know that 1 in 3 people in Monaco is a millionaire, making the value of life there far higher than in most other places. However, governments don't base the value of life solely on national wealth. In the United States, for example, the median net worth per person is about $17,000. But the government values a life between $10 and $12 million. Meanwhile, in Canada and the UK, where the median net worth per person is higher, $137,000 and $157,000 respectively, the value of life is lower, ranging from $6 to $9 million in Canada and $3 to $5 million in the UK. How governments calculate the value of life. You might wonder, how do they even come up with these numbers? The truth is, each country uses different methods depending on the purpose. The value of life can vary significantly, from as little as $1,000 to as much as $12 million, even within the same country. These systems include legal systems to calculate compensation in lawsuits, insurance markets to determine life insurance payouts, government policies and regulations to justify the cost of safety measures, disaster relief decisions to allocate limited resources during crises. For example, in the U.S., the government uses a method called the value of statistical life, VSL, to determine that the average life is worth $10 to $12 million. This figure is used to justify regulations that protect public health, safety, and the environment. Regulations and the value of life regulations, like requiring airbags in cars or mandating vaccines, are expensive. Governments must show that the benefits, such as lives saved, outweigh the costs. Back in 1972, under President Richard Nixon, a task force calculated the value of a life to be $885,000, adjusted for inflation. This number was based on future earnings lost due to premature death, the societal cost of lost productivity, unpaid taxes, small adjustments for pain and suffering. However, some important safety regulations were rejected because the cost of implementation exceeded $885,000 per life saved. For example, rules requiring rear guards on trucks to prevent cars from sliding underneath in accidents, and airbags were delayed. It wasn't until 1998, when the value of life was raised to $2.5 million, that these regulations became cost-effective and were implemented. Sadly, many lives were lost in the meantime because the cost-benefit analysis didn't justify immediate action. The value of life in legal and market systems. Legal systems, your value. Based on the human capital model. In legal cases involving wrongful death, courts use a different method called the human capital model to calculate the value of a life. This model treats individuals as economic assets and calculates their worth based on factors like expected future income, number of financial dependents, age and years of remaining work. For example, a 30-year-old engineer with 35 years of work left, earning $180,000 per year, could be valued at $3 to $5 million. However, if you are older, earn less, or have no dependents, your value in the legal system may be significantly lower. This method has been criticized for its inherent inequality. For instance, in a 1993 case where 6 members of the Anderson family died in a fiery Chevrolet Malibu crash, General Motors was sued for their negligence in designing the car. The family was awarded $1.2 billion, or approximately $200 million per person, reflecting the severity of the case and its public impact. Insurance markets, risk-based valuation. In the insurance industry, the value of life is determined through actuarial science, which assesses risk. Factors like age, health, income, and occupation all play a role. If you work in a dangerous job or live a high-risk lifestyle, your insurance premiums will be higher. In the U.S., the average life insurance payout ranges from $200,000 to $500,000, though higher premiums can increase this amount to several million dollars. However, this value only matters after death. Disaster relief, the shocking low value of life. In disaster relief scenarios, the value of life often plummets. Limited budgets mean aid organizations must prioritize saving the most lives with the least resources. In such cases, a life may be valued at only $1,000 to $5,000. For example, in 2020, the United Nations had to cut 75% of its aid programs in Yemen due to funding shortages. Providing basic aid to 10.5 million people required just $235 per person, but millions were left without help due to insufficient funds. The value of life. Through philosophy, religion, and social psychology. Philosophy. Different schools of thought. Philosophers have debated the value of life for centuries, with different schools offering unique perspectives. Utilitarianism. Your value depends on how much you contribute to overall happiness. A doctor saving hundreds of lives may be considered more valuable than someone harming society. Kantian ethics. According to Immanuel Kant, life has intrinsic value. Every individual is priceless, regardless of their actions or contributions. Existentialism. Life's value isn't predetermined, but must be created. Your life is a blank canvas, and you determine its worth through your choices and actions. Religion. Life as a sacred gift. Most major religions, including Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Hinduism, and Buddhism, view life as a sacred gift from a higher power. From this perspective, life is beyond monetary valuation. However, even ancient legal systems placed financial values on lives based on gender, class, and social status. For instance, in many cultures, the death of a nobleman was valued higher than that of a farmer, and men were often valued more than women, a reflection of historical inequalities. Social psychology. Your value in the eyes of others. While legal and economic systems attempt to assign a financial value to life, in the eyes of your family, friends, and loved ones, your value is immeasurable. To your parents, your existence changes their world forever. To your friends, colleagues, and students, your presence leaves a lasting impact. If you were to disappear, the people who love you would not only grieve your absence, but also mourn the part of themselves that only existed because of you. The question, how much is a life worth, doesn't have a single answer. Depending on the context, economic, legal, philosophical, or emotional, the value of a life can range from $1,000 to $12 million, or even be considered priceless. Ultimately, the true value of life lies not in numbers, but in the impact you leave on the world and those around you. To increase your life's value, you can live in a wealthier country, develop rare and valuable skills, Take on high-risk, high-reward jobs. Build meaningful relationships and contribute positively to society. And remember, your worth isn't just in what you do, but in how you make the world a better place. Thank you for watching Money Problem. If you found this content valuable, please like, share, and comment below to help us create more meaningful videos. Your support keeps us motivated to bring you even better content.